Today we're going to talk about a country that's not famous for its colonial empire, and that is Belgium. In the 1800s, Belgium was still a young country, a constitutional monarchy ruled by a king who didn't have very much power compared to the democratically elected government. But its king, Leopold II, was desperate for wealth and power. He saw the massive profits that other countries had gained from their colonies, and he wanted some for himself. Belgium itself wasn't interested in colonizing, as it didn't have the will or the resources to take over another country. So Leopold decided he would get a colony not for his country, but for himself. And he set his sights on Africa. The region of Africa Leopold eventually colonized is now known as the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The area had seen some level of European interference, particularly by Portuguese slave traders and colonizers, for centuries, but the Portuguese were losing power along with the decline of the slave trade. The center of Africa was largely unknown to Europeans at the time, and Leopold saw it as ripe for the plucking. It so happened that there were a number of expeditions at that time which had exploring the Congo River basin as their goal, one of which, headed by Sir Henry Morton Stanley, the explorer of Dr. Livingstone, I presume, fame, managed to make the crossing of the African continent from east to west and emerge at the mouth of the Congo Basin in 1877. Leopold had been watching Stanley's mission carefully. He already had his eye on the Congo and had begun a series of machinations in order to obtain it. The way Leopold operated reads like an FBI white-collar crime investigation. Hiding behind a series of philanthropic organizations and companies that existed mostly on paper, he hired Stanley to return to Africa and stake out the territory of the Congo for him. While publicly claiming the purity of his motives, he ordered Stanley to gain possession of as much ivory and land as possible, encouraging him to sign treaties with local chiefs to obtain their land. In one correspondence, he stated, "The treaties must be as brief as possible, and in a couple of articles must grant us everything." Leopold's policy was to tell people what they wanted to hear. He told missionaries he was spreading Christianity to the pagans, he told philanthropists he was spreading civilization, and he told tradesmen and governments that he was spreading free trade. In reality, he was claiming the Congo and all of its resources for his own personal possession. By the end of it all, Leopold owned 1 million square miles of African territory. Next time, we're going to talk about the peoples of the Congo and what Leopold did once he had his colony.